He had seen it happen 100 times in 100 dusty towns. A quiet cruelty delivered with the bland efficiency of a transaction. Cole watched from the shade of the livery stable, his black horse Knight shifting patiently beneath him. The woman stood at the counter of Gable's General Mercantile, her back ramrod straight. She wore a gray Prairie dress, washed so many times it had surrendered its color to the relentless sun, the fabric thin and patched at the elbows. Her hands, clasped before her, were steady, but he could see the tension in the line of her shoulders. She was Chinese, and in this town, that was a currency that bought you only suspicion. Mr. Gable, a man whose smile never reached his eyes, was shaking his head slowly. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Way," he said, his voice carrying on the still summer air, a performance of regret for the other customers. "The ledger is the ledger. No more credit until your husband's account is settled." The woman, Mai Lin, did not argue. She simply gave a small, sharp nod, a gesture of acceptance that was more damning than any protest. She had a few coins in her palm, a pathetic little constellation of copper and nickel. She pushed them forward. "For rice, then?" "Just a small bag for the children." Gable made a show of counting them, his thick fingers scooping them up. He sighed, a theatrical puff of air. "This won't cover a full bag. Not even a half. Rules are rules." He pushed the coins back toward her, a dismissal. He turned to the next customer, a rancher's wife with a full basket, and the smile finally touched his eyes. "Now, Mrs. Albright, what can we get for you today?" Mai Lin stood there for a moment, invisible. Then she gathered her dignity, wrapped it around herself like a shawl, and turned. She walked out of the store, her head held high, but Cole saw the slight tremor in her hand as she retied the strings of her empty cloth sack. She did not look at anyone. She walked as if she expected the dust itself to reject her. Cole waited until she was a dozen paces down the street, her small figure stark against the glare of the afternoon. He nudged Knight with his heels, the horse moving into a slow, deliberate walk that matched her pace. He drew alongside her, keeping a respectful distance. She flinched when his shadow fell over her, her eyes darting to the holstered gun on his hip before moving to his face. She braced herself for another kind of cruelty. He tipped his hat. His voice was low, rough from disuse, but clear. "Ride with me," he said. It was not a question. "I'll fill your table tonight." Her eyes, dark and weary, narrowed. She saw a tall man, weathered by the sun and the trail. He was not handsome in the way of town folk, but his face was carved with a kind of stark honesty. Still, she had learned that offers from strange men were never free. "I have no money to pay you," she said, her voice quiet but firm. "I'm not asking for money," he replied, his gaze steady. "A man gets tired of his own cooking. You cook, I'll hunt. We'll call it an even trade." She stared at him, searching for the lie, the hook hidden in the bait. She found nothing but a quiet intensity in his gaze. He was waiting for her answer, patient as a mountain. The image of her children's faces, their quiet hope for supper, rose in her mind. It was a weight that bent her pride. Finally, she gave that same small, sharp nod she had given the storekeeper. It was not surrender. It was a choice. "All right," she whispered. He dismounted in one fluid motion, a man who was more at home in the saddle than on his own 2 feet. He offered her a hand up onto Knight's broad back, and for the first time she accepted help. Her hand was small and calloused in his, and then it was gone. He swung up behind her, taking the reins, and they rode out of town, leaving the dust and the quiet cruelties behind. The ride was silent. Mai Lin sat stiffly, her hands gripping the front of the saddle, careful not to lean back against him. Cole kept a deliberate space between them, his presence a steady weight but not an intrusion. He could feel the rigid set of her spine, a wall she had built around herself brick by silent brick. They left the main track, following a smaller trail that wound through sun-baked scrub and rock. The land was harsh, but he saw the small signs of life she probably knew intimately. The hardy desert herbs, the tracks of a jackrabbit, the distant shimmer of a hidden spring. Her home was not a house so much as a stubborn suggestion of one. It was a small sod-roofed cabin pressed against the side of a low butte, as if seeking shelter from the wind and the world. It was small, weathered, and poor, yet there was a fierce tidiness to it. A small patch of garden, meticulously weeded, showed rows of struggling corn and beans. A line of patched clothing, bleached white by the sun, floated from a rope. It was a place of immense effort, a testament to a will that refused to be broken. As they approached, the cabin door opened. A boy of about 10 stood there, holding a younger girl behind him. The boy's face was a miniature mask of his mother's composure, his eyes dark and watchful. He held a sharpened stick like a spear. The girl, no older than 5, peered around his leg, her expression one of wide, unabashed curiosity. My Lynn slid from the horse before Cole could dismount to help her. She spoke to her children in a language he did not understand, her voice a soft, flowing current. The tension in her shoulders eased as she looked at them. The boy, Ann, did not lower his stick. His gaze was fixed on Cole, on the gun, on the stranger's face. "This is Ann," My Lynn said, turning back to Cole. "And this is Leanne." Cole dismounted slowly, letting Knight's reins trail on the ground. The horse stood, placid and immense. He did not smile at the children. He knew it would be a lie they would see right through. He simply met the boy's gaze and gave,